Very nice. Mick Teller, getting his groove on. Hey guys, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here, hello. Sorry about the standing up. Probably looking straight down the old crown jewels there. I imagine the camera right in front there. Hopefully the guitar was in front of the danger area.
I've become a bit of a strangler of late.
Have you?
Yeah.
It's a common problem.
So, I must beg forgiveness for the messy board today. It's a bit of a challenge. We're going to be looking at some wah pedals, and we're going to be changing things around a lot. And the best thing, because we also need to stand up and get on it.
Yes, I physically cannot wah effectively whilst seated.
What size are your feet?
10 and a bit.
Okay.
10 and a half.
Just big boots.
Huh?
They're big boots.
Yeah, Australian. Well, actually, Tasmanian boots.
Okay. They're still Australian.
Is that right?
It is very correct.
Is that right? So
yeah.
is it a bit like saying, is it the same difference as Wales and England?
No, it's Tasmania is in Australia.
Oh, it's an Australian state, is it?
It's. Oh,
this is interesting.
Is it a separate state? I think it must be. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a part of Australia. Yeah.
Oh, okay, well they're Australian boots then.
Yeah. Some amazing musicians come from Tasmania. I used to play with this keyboard player. I don't remember his name. He was unbelievable.
Tazzy.
Yeah. So
Tazzy
yeah.
Taz.
Taz.
Dan's trying to dig himself back out of the hole now by, you'll have the People's Liberation Army of Tasmania after you, won't you? Do they exist?
Yes, of course they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're the loveliest Liberation Army you've ever met.
Justin Sandercoe's from Tasmania, I think.
Is he?
I think so. Justin Sandercoe. Oh, stepping on fuzz pedals. If you've never been to justinguitar.com, please go there.
Yeah, he's great.
He's among the best, if not the best, guitar teacher on YouTube.
Let's get him on.
Yeah, let's get him on. Right, wah pedals.
Wah pedals.
We're going to do two things in this episode. We are going to talk about the problem of fuzz and wah, which everyone seems to have. Mm-hmm. Where should it go? What do buffers mean? What's the meaning of life? Those three basic questions. And then...
Wah is life.
Secondly, we're going to put a bunch of wah-wahs on the floor and just have a listen and see what it is.
Yeah. So I went to my local music store.
Yep.
And I picked up a run-of-the-mill, off-the-shelf Crybaby Wah.
What is your local music store?
My local music store is Kempster's. Actually, I took a little footage of myself going there to get it.
Oh, maybe we could cut that in now.
Are you there? Hey, mate. Yes. How you doing? Finest Dunlop Cry Baby Wah, please, sir.
Here we go. This is the one.
Excellent.
Please. Thank you very much.
So, we've very fortunate to have a number of really amazing, high quality wah pedals, but I had an old, I think they GCQ95s or something.
CGB, I think.
CGB, right? GCQ
might be GCB.
But I had one years ago that I modded, and modded it to true bypass and took out buffer and everything. It sounded great. I think that is currently on Stephen Wilson's pedal board from memory.
Nice. That was a classic name drop.
You like that? That was a good
beautiful name drop.
That was that was old school name dropping.
Yeah.
Just weave it in there.
Nice.
So, but this is the nothing done to it. Literally just pulled it out of the bag. It is now on the board. So we want to hear that in comparison to all the all singing, all dancing, amazing wah pedals, because then I think they cost me 90 quid or something.
I think it's the best-selling effects pedal in the world, isn't it, or something? Or Dunlop has sold a squazillion quillion of them. Those are real numbers, people. It's late in the day. And we've got the Fulltone on there because why? That's my wah. Why did I buy Fulltone wah? Because I'm so confused by wahs. Anything I buy by Fulltone just works and sounds awesome.
Yeah, it does.
So it's my kind of, I don't know what to buy, so I'm going to buy that. Mm-hmm. And I know it'll work and I know it'll sound great. And Perfect. It's a Clyde Standard. And what's interesting about it is it has an inbuilt output buffer variable. And I've never really understood what it does.
Okay.
So we're going to address that in this video. Mm-hmm. And then, as you can see, we've got his and hers. Sorry, hers and hers.
That's better.
Analog Man Sunface NKT red dots. One before the wahs and one after. They're set up to sound broadly similar. Daniel, prove that they sound broadly similar.
Man, it's a special thing.
Germanium, Sunface, and we set them up to sound broadly similar. And they do sound very similar, actually.
Yeah. Right.
And then they're positioned either side of the wah because the biggest question we get about wah-wahs and the biggest question arising from the first wah-wah show, which we did about 2 years ago, maybe, was where do I...
wasn't sick for that one, right?
No, you were there for that one. Where do I put my fuzz and what's the difference and why does it matter? Because blah, blah, blah. So what we've got is we're going to start off with the basic, which is this, and then we've got some other fuzz pedals down on here on the floor that we're just going to whip in and out just to see what difference that makes.
Perfect.
Amps today are Marshall 1987X 50 watt Plexi reissue, which we're running through the Universal Audio aux to attenuate it just a touch so we can get some love going in the amp. Mm-hmm. Fender Super Reverb reissue.
Beautiful.
And
I think that's sounding really good today.
Yeah.
The Supa.
Sounds nice.
Really lovely.
Sounds nice.
Shall we do this thing?
Let's do this
thing. The other thing is, and of course we do have a bunch of other wah pedals we're going to kick in and out.
I think we kind of demonstrated in the intro there, but let's do this. Mm-hmm. God, I'm going to have to stand up, aren't I? Hence the guitar straps standing up.
It's the first time I've worn straps in a long time.
It is, because it used to be that with that pedal show logo, it said something unfortunate when the L was covered up. So thankfully, it'll probably say something like penis and other swear words. Actually, penis is not a swear word, but other swear words here.
Yes.
Maybe.
Similar twixt the meaning of.
Yes. Anyway, okay. Right. If I stand up, I can't really talk because the microphones are in the wrong place. So you'll have to explain what's going on.
Okay. Michael's standing up now. He is ready to rock. That's both amplifiers. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with the run-of-the-mill.
Can you tell the fat guy to stop standing up and sitting down? That's for you, Angry Dave 961.
I think I banned him. Anyway, so we'll start with the run-of-the-mill Crybaby.
Just hearing the wah, yeah?
Just hearing the wah. got such good time. Okay, and let's just hear now the full tone next to that.
I have to lean a bit further over for that one.
Right.
So I may have to adjust my physical position.
Okay, do you want me to move?
No, it's
Okay.
fine. I like standing uncomfortably close to you. Can you feel it?
Yeah, baby. So I've got the fuzz pedal set up. So they basically...
Not even drunk, doing dry January.
Yeah, you're doing as well.
Oh, God. Delirious maybe rather than drunk.
So let's hear those again, and then I'm going to switch between the two fuzzes.
Yep.
The one fuzz being before and this one being after. Okay, so I've got this set up in flip-flop so that fuzz will be on, and when I do this, bang, it turns that one off and turns that one on. Okay, so it'll be relatively instantaneous. So here we go. Cry Baby.
Don't think we need to do any more of that, really.
No. So as close as the fuzzes sound to each other, the massive difference with the fuzz being before the wah pedal or the fuzz being after the wah pedal. Now this all has to do with the impedance of a fuzz. With the wah after a fuzz pedal, basically the fuzz is seeing the guitar first, and then the output of the fuzz is going into the wah pedal, and the wah is shifting those frequencies. But with the guitar going into the wah pedal and then into the fuzz, when you kick the fuzz on, now remember that the Crybaby is buffered, right, all the time, even in bypass. So when you kick the wah on, the lower output impedance is driving the fuzz and making it really brittle.
Well,
Okay?
that's interesting. Can we just on that note then,
Yep.
can we hear, we're going to turn the wah on,
Yep.
even though, so the wah is now engaged in the signal chain. So if you have your pedals chained together using normal patch leads and you don't have a switcher, this is how your wah is. If you've got one of these wahs with non-true bypass,
Yep.
this is how it is all the time.
Exactly.
So the circuit is engaged, or at least it's not true bypass, even though the wah is off.
Perfect.
It's not true bypass. So now we're going to hear what the fuzzes sound like with the wah on and off, right?
Exactly.
And see if that makes any difference.
So with the wah is turned off, but it's bypassed. But in bypass, it's still buffered. So we're going to hear the buffer of the wah, and we're going to hear the fuzz before the buffer of the wah and the fuzz after the buffer of the wah.
Nice.
Cool. Very interesting.
Hardly any difference.
There was well, there's very little bit of difference. We've done this before with the analog band fuzzers. I just think that they're too good. I don't know what it is. They're clones of the old Fuzz Face. So I think we need to start kicking in some.
Okay, so what we've proved is, let's summarise how far we've got so far.
Yep.
Your fuzz sounds radically different depending whether it's before the wah or after the wah.
That's right.
We've proved that.
Yep.
We've then started to go, well, hang on a minute. Some people have a problem placing their fuzz in a certain position, even if the wah is turned off.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't really had that problem here.
No.
Seems to have been fine. Yes, it sounds, to me, doesn't sound great when the fuzz is after and the wah's on.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem that we hear from a lot of people is actually when the wah is off, that is affecting my fuzz sound as well. So, shall we swap one of these fuzzes out for something a bit more...
Yeah, baby.
So, this isn't germanium, this is silicon, and it's my favourite fuzz face, personally.
So, what model is it? What year is it?
It's the Jimi Hendrix one, which is BC109, I think.
Okay.
So it's a silicon fuzz.
Right.
So shall we see if that makes any difference?
Yep, perfect.
So, excuse me while I whip this out. It's going to be horribly upside down because that's just the way we're rolling today. So, there you go. Let's have a second fuzz face. I know it has a battery in it. Question is, Dan, will it function? Instantly, you hear how much extra high end there is compared to the analog man.
Yeah.
It does that with the volume at 0 as well. Watch this.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hmm.
Have a swang on that.
Man, that is awesome.
It's good, isn't it?
It's awesome. Wow.
Now, so what I did there is I turned both the wah-wahs on and had a quick wah. Seemed to me that the Crybaby wasn't coping as well now. Did that seem the same to you?
Yeah, because now, work that out, because that's a silicon fuzz face.
Yeah.
Right? Which should be a lot more adept working with the buffer, why don't, if I swap the position of the first wire and the fuzz face, so that we've got a wire either side of that fuzz face.
Before we do that, would you mind just switching the buffer on
the Fulltone.
Off in the Fulltone, just to see what that does?
Yep.
Okay, I'll go full tilt. Would you mind just turning the buffer level down and up just to see what it does?
Yes. So if you turn the fuzz off. So if I turn the buffer level down, it's basically a level set for the buffer.
Oh, so it's literally like a master volume.
Exactly.
Ah, okay.
And the buffer's in, it just gives you a different level for the buffer. So if I turn the buffer off.
Are your ears down there, mate?
Yeah, sorry if I turn away, it's fine. So unity gain with this is basically 12 o'clock.
So it doesn't seem to be making a huge difference in the case of this fuzz either then?
In the upper frequencies it is.
Sounds stronger with the buffer on. Yeah.
So what if I put that fuzz face in between those two wires, so we can hear a buffer going into it, so like a wire before it and then a wire after it. That work?
Yeah, although we've heard it before, so could we just put it on the end and...
We've heard it before. Yeah, so what I'm saying is if I put this, basically put these two here, so that we can hear it after a buffer.
Oh, I see.
Make sense?
Maybe.
Give me 2 seconds this.
I think we did this last time when we talked about buffers and wahs. We were trying to create a problem that a lot of people seem to have, and we don't seem to be having it.
No.
So I'm not entirely sure what that's all about. It's obviously very fuzz dependent.
Yeah.
Nice strap you got there, Dan.
You like that?
Yeah.
Big shout out to Sandholm Leather in Minnesota, who made Mick and I some guitar straps.
Yeah.
I've also got Dan on the other side of this, but I thought it might be a little bit too.
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Narcissistic.
Egotistical. Narcissistic for a YouTuber to have his name on a strap. But
thank you for those.
mine is absolutely gorgeous.
Mine is on the that pedal show bass at the moment, which I was playing on New Year's Eve around at Simon's house.
How was that?
It was great. It was like kind of A, E, D, and A again. It was great. Don't know why they moan so much. Okay.
Right. Okay. So now we have the Crybaby first, and then we have the fuzz face in loop 2, and then loop 3 we have the Fulltone. So if I turn on the fuzz face,
yep. There's the problem.
There's the problem. So with the
Fuzz face sitting after the buffer.
Yeah.
So some fuzz pedals sitting after a buffered wah. Now,
Not
does it make
happy.
any difference in the bypass state? Did we try
Let's
that?
try that.
Keep swanging.
Can we just check one thing just quickly? This is the wah pedal. If you could just play for me, please, kind sir.
That's the fuzz face, isn't it now?
This, that's the fuzz face, and that's the wah pedal. Sorry, yep, just play for us. Yep. Just making sure it's not true
Yeah,
bypass.
just making sure.
Hang on. Play it again.
So much.
Hang on. That's true bypass.
No.
Well, there's no power to it, and we're getting a bypass signal through it.
Ah.
Now, when
I'm so pleased we weren't going, oh, listen to all that difference then.
there's no mention of true bypass on here, it says heavy duty bypass switch, but I know that these were always buffered bypass. That is true bypass. Very interesting. Very interesting.
He knows it's true bypass because with no power source attached, it doesn't have a battery in it, does it? Because the wah would work.
Exactly.
With no power source attached, with the effect turned off, it still passes signal.
Now, you can still pass signal in a... It doesn't necessarily mean it's true bypass, but in this one, because this... Basically, take the power out, and in the bypass state, if it passes signal clean, because sometimes you can still get signal in bypass without any power on it,
Right.
through some circuitry.
But if it sounds the same,
But if it sounds the same, if it sounds clean,
it's probably true bypass.
yeah. So for example, I can switch without any power on it. If you just play for us. So, true bypass.
Well, I'm really pleased we weren't hearing massive differences between the bypass state and the non-bypass state.
And they're going, oh, listen to all that out of the top end from that buffer.
Yeah. Okay, so we've yet again set out to prove something that we don't seem to be able to prove.
That is fascinating. I did not know that they did that. Because my old version of that was absolutely buffered and bypass.
Right.
I had to do a true bypass mod to it. So that's come standard now as true bypass. How interesting.
How interesting. Okay. So you've heard the fuzz face before, you've heard it after. I don't think we need to gild the lily here, do we? We've got some other fuzzes, but to be honest, I think we should move on to the wah.
I want to hear some wahs.
Yeah.
Let's leave these two because these two sound ace.
You don't hear that every day, do you? I want to hear some wahs. Okay. As we said, we sort of set out to try and demonstrate something that we didn't really demonstrate there, other than all fuzzes and wahs seem to be different, and therefore you just need to experiment. And I don't know. We've got a standard Crybaby, we've got a Fulltone, we've got two of the best fuzz pedals on the planet, and
it's all lovely,
all tickety boo.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that fuzz doesn't sound great after the wah, except it does to you, John123 in Wisconsin, who loves it more than anything, and that's the whole point. Isn't it?
Of course.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to go a bit more quick fire, and we're gonna leave the standard Crybaby where it is, and we're going to swap out the other wah for something different, and we'll tell you what they are as we swap them out.
Sure.
And we're going to try and listen to three things. We're going to listen to the volume difference, if there is one. We're going to try and listen to the sweep that the wah has, and talk a little bit about the kind of sweet spot of the cue, where it gets really vocal and nice.
Yeah. So if you think about the way that the frequencies are being swept up and down, and the cue is the width of that frequency sweep.
Yeah.
So
with
a narrow
like
cue,
a small child's finger or a really fat guy's finger. Yeah.
Hey, ooh, I'm a little cue.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm a big cue.
It's almost like it's the last
video of the day.
Last video of the day. Tell you what, mate. My fingerboard is shrinking in here. I got a fret end or two starting to show.
Are you?
Yeah.
Or are you as if you are this?
Yeah. It's not nothing to do with the fret thing. It's the fingerboard shrinking because it's so dry in here. Pretty common on rosewood guitars,
Is
especially.
It?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, right. Okay.
Quick question.
Yes.
How does the Fulltone compare to the Crybaby for you?
I've always loved standard Crybabies.
Right. Okay.
But you know I then after I got rid of my last Crybaby, I thought, oh, you know, those boutique wahs must be much better, and I then got some other wah-wahs, and my favourite one ever was a something. It was purple. It was an amp company that made amps, and they were affiliated to PV, and I'm going to remember it in a minute. And it changed shape. It was the standard Crybaby shape and form factor, and then it changed shape after that. And I'm going to remember it in a minute, and it's doing my head in because I've got tip of the tongue theory. Anyway, it was that one. They don't make it anymore, so it's kind of a moot point.
We had it on the last show, did we?
We had it on, it was a purple one. Yeah. And you said, "Cool, I love the sound of that." Yeah. I can see the amp brand. I can see them there.
It's walking towards you.
I can see them there, and I can't remember the name of it, and I will remember it in a minute.
Okay.
And then I had a few other things, and then a few other things, and then I stopped using wah for ages, and then I thought, right, I just need a wah-wah that I really like. I'll buy what I know is going to sound great, and lo and behold, it sounds great.
Yeah. Okay.
And I like everything about it.
Sure.
Especially that being able to vary the level of it.
Yeah. Very good. The standard Crybaby, though, at this point, still sounds.
You prefer it?
Well, not that I prefer it. I think I prefer the Fulltone, but I thought there would be. I didn't think this would sound as good as it does.
Yeah.
Just being a standard cheap Crybaby, over the counter.
Yeah.
No messing.
Well, I guess there's a reason they sell 18 squirtillion of them.
Okay, so we'll leave that on there, and then this is the Supa Quack from ProAnalog Devices.
Well, hang on then, we got to hear them.
All right.
Haven't we? We got to hear them, buddy. We got to hear them. Seems to be
this is a bigger range on it.
Bigger range. It's the quack of it is a tiny bit more vocal to me.
Yep.
And it almost sounds like it's adding some level, so maybe we've got the buffer on set a bit higher there.
The buffer on is on set at Unity.
It was.
Yep.
It's because it sounded like it was adding something.
Right.
But anyway, that'll tell in its in the what's name. Right, what's this?
This is the Supa Quack from ProAnalog Devices.
Oh, I do remember liking this a great deal, actually. Right, back to the Crybaby.
Yep.
「 Wow 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 wow
Significantly prefer that.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
The Quack and the vocal mid-range of it
Yep.
seem to be, I mean, it's called Super Quack, so I'm saying Quack. What do they call that? There's some word for that. Anyway.
Hey, Quack.
No, but when something is called something and you say the word.
Oh, onomatopoeia?
Something like that. But it means you're biased towards it because it's already called that.
Right.
So if you call this the screaming distortion, you say, God, it really screams that
okay.
distortion. Anyway,
Right.
but yeah, the vocal part of it, where it speaks, is...
It's right in the right spot.
The whole thing sounds fuller
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, yeah. No.
Okay, good.
Okay, awesome.
What's next?
All right, we're going to try the... This is...
The Italian one. This is by Carlo.
Carlo! Hey, buddy!
Carlo Sorasio.
No, I didn't check if this had a...
A battoir. It does do power, that one.
Yeah. There we go. Give that some urban.
Okay, sorry you're going to have to go through these same licks, or maybe I'll try to play something different. Impossible. Thicker sounding,
Thicker.
more output. Let's hit. Oh, sorry, we'll hear it with some fuzzy fuzz fuzz. Couple of observations at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's thicker.
Playing Stonehenge? It's thicker, yeah.
Yeah. No, we're not doing Stonehenge. Definitely thicker sounding, different kind of range. Don't know if it has any internal business in it, but one of the things I had wondered is if it was battery powered, if it might have been running short on battery, but actually you had it mains powered.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make much of a difference, battery power and mains power? Probably.
In these circuits it shouldn't do. I mean, we're getting...
For anyone confused at this point, Dan's on the floor.
Right, so I'm just going to, ever so sharply...
Focus. You can
Right.
see one trim pot. There's a focus trim pot. And something else.
There's an output trim pot. Okay, and then we also have these dip switches.
Right.
So you can do a whole bunch of dip switch shenanigans. I'm also just wondering if we might not get an extra... what I'd like to try and do is, if I can, just move it up one tooth position. There we go.
Hang on. Shall we just move one of these dip switches and see what happens?
Yeah,
What do you think they do?
I don't know. You found it, okay.
Simon's found it. So the dip switches are A, B, and C. So it's a resonant frequency switching matrix.
Right, okay.
Treble, vintage, classic, modern, bass wah. So I'm confused a little bit about that. So there's also the focus is a low frequency gain, so maybe that's why it was sounding so thick.
Okay.
So if we turn that down a bit, just tweak that down a tiny bit,
Okay.
the focus switch, and then so tell me where the A switch is currently.
A is on and B is on. C is off and mid is off.
So if we want a classic setting,
Yep.
it should be off, on, off.
So A is off, B is on,
Yeah,
C is off.
correct.
Okay. That's the classic setting.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
So clearly you could do this.
It's tweakable.
You could do this all day long,
Yeah.
and maybe on the next day as well. Okay, so while he plugs that back in, you turn the low end gain down, and you messed around with the dip switches.
Yep.
Let's see what difference it makes.
Okay.
And you mucked around with the actual travel of the...
Yeah, just to give it a little bit more because it felt like it just wasn't going to
Yep.
the rig. This is really loud. So much better.
Sounds great. There is a volume control in there as well,
Yep.
if you wanted to turn it down.
Apparently this is the first wah being made in Italy for however many decades.
That being important because I think the wah originated there, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'm not a wah aficionado. I do know people who are.
Wah.
But I thought that sounds great. There's a, after making those little tweaks.
Probably can't hear you down there.
Okay. I thought that sounded great after making those little tweaks. But the travel sorted out. There's a lot more top end in it. There was sounded really cool. Okay.
Final one then. This is the Jam Pedals. Is it called the Wahoo? It says it on the back.
The Wahoo!
Waha.
The Wah Ha Ho Hoo.
Wahoko.
Wahoo.
Anyway, it's the Jam Pedals Wah Wah. So right, this has got a knob on the side, I see, which takes us into all new territory, Dan.
Okay, cool.
My question is, does it move the whole sweep or does it just move the treble up and down?
Let's try. So this, I'll go from the basis, the basis setting.
Okay, basis setting.
So it moves the whole sweep.
What about you? I'm all wired out. So there are a lot of wah pedals we haven't included, particularly the whole rest of the Crybaby range.
Yeah.
Which, if you imagine all the things you could do to a wah, it pretty much exists within the Crybaby range. One of the most popular other choices is the 535Q, which has a couple of adjustable business on it.
Right.
I think maybe the sweep and some other stuff.
Yeah.
So it becomes a bit more customizable, because what we showed there with the jam pedal right at the end there is that affecting the range of the sweep has a radical effect, and that will depend on the kind of guitar you have, on the kind of amp you have, on the overdrive pedals you use. So just being aware of that position of that sweep and what you like.
Yeah, it's a really interesting circuit, the wah pedal circuit. The way that the the way that they get that sweep, and the inductor, for example, is a big part of that, and why a lot of these companies go to such massive lengths at creating their own inductor circuit.
Fiesel inductors.
Yeah,
that's the thing. And then there's red ones and there's yellow ones, etc., etc., etc. And if you were really into wahs, you could immerse yourself in that. And if you are really into wahs, no doubt you've already done it. Which is, I'll come back again to the point of why I bought the Fulltone, because I just knew it would sit in a point that works for me. However, I would say the sweetest sounding of the day for me
Super Quack
is the Super Quack. Yeah.
Killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to have a play between the Super Quack and the Italian, because I don't have a play with the rest of those dip switches, but for just plug in and go, Super Quack it's there. Really nice.
Okay, don't know about you guys. I'm mildly more confused than I was when we first started. I'm very happy with my wah pedal. I don't put it on my pedal board. I put it off the pedal board, and it sits in front of everything, and I take it when I want it, and it works pretty well there for the classic applications that I use it for, which hopefully isn't very often. But
I use the wah so infrequently that in that position, in the first position, it's only ever for a bit of wacka chicky in some rhythm stuff and some fiddly diddly in solo bits, but it's so infrequent. If I was using it all the time, then maybe I would have it in a loop where I can move things around. Yeah. But for me, it sounds great
where it is.
In
okay,
the front.
This is going to make a fascinating VCQ on Monday, I think.
And that bit of top end actually that it adds going in actually really works well for me.
Because of the buffer.
And it just, it throws that top end thing, straight through. It works really well for me. I should say I don't have a problem with it, because on the rare occasion that I do, having that extra top end, as I lean into it, it's fine. The wah thing is a massive. I mean, I like wahs; they're fun, but I know people who have dozens and dozens and dozens of wah pedals, and who it's like the history of the wah pedal. It's so fascinating, and they're so into it, and they know every little bit of circuitry, and
it was designed for trumpet, just in case you didn't know.
Yeah, it was.
Watch the Crybaby documentary. It's probably the way to do that.
Clyde. So it was the way the trumpet players use their mute, right? When they first designed this,
this guy,
Clyde McCoy.
Clyde McCoy. That's why that's called Clyde, because Clyde McCoy was a trumpet player.
Yeah. So I did an interview with Del Casher, who was definitely in the room when all this was happening, and he said that this was, he said, this is amazing. This is the guitar effects, and at that point, guitar was thought to be a fad, and the guy said, no, we want to use this for trumpet. We want this to replace a trumpet mute, And so Dell said, well, if you want to do that, why don't you get Clyde McCoy on board? So he was like the Les Paul of the day. He just, he put his name on the wah pedal. Really famous trumpet player.
Thank you, Clyde.
Thank you, Clyde.
And Dell.
And there are pictures of the Vox Electric Orchestra, Electric Trumpet Orchestra or whatever, and all the trumpet players have little mics plugged into their wah pedals, and they're using the wah as a trumpet mute. That was it. And then Hendrix did the thing at Woodstock, and the world was changed.
Happy days.
Happy days indeed.
Okay, hope that was useful.
Yeah. So I found it really interesting. We done?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been waiting for you to do that for the last 5 minutes.
Sorry, Dave. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. I just want to say a massive shout out to our patrons on Patreon. We so appreciate you guys. We literally couldn't do this without you. Also, to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe.
Anderson's Music of Guildford, Surrey.
In the US of A.
Riff City Guitar of various loci.
And in Australia.
Pedal Empire of Brisbane, Queensland.
So these are retailers that pay us a little bit of money every week to mention their names, but we know these guys, they're fantastic, and if you go there, they will look after you.
Yes. Good fellows they are.
Really good.
As well, and they probably sell some of these wah pedals.
Yes. And finally, a massive thank you to everyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and purchased yourself a lovely garment or a lovely headwear. We have a couple of different versions of headwear. We have drinking facilities. We have
writing.
Yeah.
Ephemera.
There's more stuff on there. Yeah. So again, if to anyone that's gone and bought some stuff from our from thatpedalshowstore.com, thank you so much, because again, that is what pays for the show.
Everything keeps us going.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a fantastic week, and we will see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.